Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday, July 22nd. I'm SBJ senior writer Joe Lemire bringing you the Morning Buzzcast. In this era of college conference realignment, it's been hard to keep track of school membership, but this time the news is that a school is staying put. SBJ's Ben Portnoy reported that Memphis approached the Big 12 with a pitch to become its 17th member. Its candidacy was discussed at a regularly scheduled call among conference university presidents on Monday, with the body opting not to move forward with the proposal. No vote was taken. The pitch seemed financially compelling. Memphis would not have received a disbursement from the league media deals for the immediate future. Plus, it pledged to help bring major brands like AutoZone and Lowe's into the Big 12's corporate sponsorship portfolio, potentially for more than $200 million over 5 years. Each school would have benefited with an extra $2.3 million annually, per Ben's report, and certainly generating more revenue is top of mind for every athletic department now that they can spend up to $20.5 million directly to its players. Memphis is staying put, but its current conference is changing. At least its name is. The American Athletic Conference will heretofore be known only as, drumroll please, the American Conference. It's a truncation of the middle word and not a huge change, but it means the AAC acronym is gone, and the full unveil will come Thursday in conjunction with its media days in Charlotte. Part of the motivation was to avoid confusion with the ACC, as opposed to the AAC, but the American now also leans into that name further, adding an eagle named Soar as its mascot. It'll exist in both live and animated forms, and the conference slogan is Built to Rise, with the word Rise also a reference to its new commercial business unit called Rise Ventures, with Rise serving as an acronym for Revenue, Innovation, Sports, and Entertainment. The American has 15 football-playing members, and all but Army and Navy are required to share at least $10 million in revenue with the players over the next 3 seasons. Among the other prominent constituents are Tulane, East Carolina, South Florida, and North Texas. Last week, I shared news of the Student Compensation and Opportunity Through Rights and Endorsements Act, that's the SCORE Act as it's more commonly known, and among other objections to the bill that recently advanced past the House subcommittee comes one from the USOPC. Executive Director Sarah Hirschland and Chair Gene Sykes wrote a letter to members of Congress to revisit the wording of SCORE, particularly the required minimum of 16 teams to be sponsored by each athletic department. Hirschland, in a follow-up interview with the Associated Press, noted that schools might not have proper incentive to fund the non-revenue sports that are de facto feeder programs to the Olympic movement. The USOPC noted that 64 of the 67 Power 4 schools do sponsor more than 16 with an average of 21, at least for now. At last summer's Paris Games, a full 3/4 of U.S. Olympians had ties to the U.S. college sports system, while a little more than half of all Paralympians did. The USOPC is pushing the university athletic departments to guarantee continued spending on Olympic sports programs going forward as they do now. The inaugural Athletes Unlimited Softball League Championship Series is set for this weekend at Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and it will now have Sephora as its presenting sponsor. Specific terms were not disclosed, but our Mike Mazzio reported that it is a multi-year deal and will include many of the standard elements of these brand deals: promotion on game broadcasts, in-venue signage, digital and social marketing activations. Sephora is also creating a glam suite at the media day that runs prior to the AUSL All-Star Cup. That's the 21-game season with 60 players competing for individual points as opposed to the team format. This is how the Athletes Unlimited operated prior to this year's full team schedule. The AUSL title series begins with Game 1 and Game 2 broadcasts this weekend on July 26th and 27th. If there's a Game 3, that'll be Monday on ESPN2. Mazzio noted that 14 of the first 29 regular season games were sellouts, and viewership on the ESPN networks was up 55% over the prior edition of Athletes Unlimited Softball. Wimbledon moved one step closer to putting shovels in the ground in its bid to triple its footprint after the High Court affirmed a General London Assembly ruling that would enable the All England Lawn Tennis Club to build 39 new courts. Some local residents had objected to the expansion on what had been the old Wimbledon Park golf course. Many of the new grass courts will permit the Grand Slam to host its own qualifying tournament for the first time, but there is also a plan for a new 8,000-seat stadium. The other 3 Grand Slams have added qualifying onto their tournament fortnights in a way to maximize commercial opportunities and create a cohesive experience for fans. The All England Lawn Tennis Club chair, Deborah Jevons, cited that point in a briefing with reporters last month while explaining the vision behind the new development. Another hearing will be required in January 2026, as the club had signed a covenant 32 years ago when buying the old golf course, in which it pledged not to use the space for reasons other than leisure and recreation. That's not an insurmountable issue, but will need to be addressed. And to be clear, this remains a long-term plan. Best case scenario is that the courts will be ready in the 2030s. A few quick hitters to end on. ESPN programming, our Austin Karp reported, had a strong first half to 2025. The flagship cable network is up 4% overall and 9% in prime time. Add in the sports shown on ABC, and the Disney-O networks had their best first half since 2016. Lloyd Howell, who recently resigned as executive director of the NFLPA, also tendered his resignation from the Carlyle Group, the private equity firm he started consulting for a few months prior to starting with the football union in 2023. A point of contention for some was that the Carlyle Group was approved to make investments into NFL franchises as of August 2024, and that was perceived to be somewhat of a conflict of interest. And it was great to see that Venus Williams was back in action on Monday at the DC Open. The 45-year-old legend, who won 21 Grand Slam titles in singles and doubles, returned to the court in a doubles match in which she won in straight sets along Haley Baptiste, a 23-year-old who was born after Venus had already won 4 Grand Slam singles titles and 2 Olympic gold medals, both a singles title and a doubles medal in 2000 for winning with her sister Serena. The court at the DC Open where she played sat 3,000 people and was full, including an appearance from NBA superstar Kevin Durant. That's your news for this Tuesday, July 22nd. Signing off on the Morning Buzzcast is Joe Lemire. My colleague Austin Karp will take you through the rest of the week. Have a great day, everyone.